What if Murad is wrong? What if he's wrong? A lot of people are asking that. And before I begin, I want to remind you that you are a sugar-free jelly donut with extra sugar sprinkled all over you. The non-believers will be mogged, friends. What if Murad's wrong? I've seen that everywhere. And I'm going to show you his checklist. He has a critical error in there. A critical error. Murad, if you're watching, I mean, it's so obvious to me, but I'm going to show it to you. What's his critical error, friends? I'm now going to just present for you the picture of his list, okay? Just a quick tweet. Look at it. Number 1, buy meme coins that can become very big. Of course, that's a general statement. You know, everyone believes their own thing can be big, otherwise it wouldn't be in it. Number 2, buy coins that have undergone multiple 70% drops. Basically saying, let it show itself to you, right? Number 3, study coins that have spent a long time under 10 million. Okay, so ones that have had a long base, you know, things that have been basically grinding a long time. And what's a long time? And I know if you're in PulseChain and HEX community, a long time. Murad's in a long-time investor, a long time, 6 months. Like 6 months. I've got a 15-year stake. That's what you're saying. 6 months. Yeah. Yeah. Just going to show you. So you can use an example here. This is Landwolf, for example. This is just like 615 Landwolf. See how like, okay, it's under 10 million a long time. You know, there's people who believe, except just to give you examples, okay? But this video, friends, we're going to go through it because it's going to really shock you. He also said, study coins which have people hustling for free. That is your potential to be a cult, by the way. See that? Now, this is the critical part. Use bubble maps and hold the scan to check distribution. Wrong. I already know wrong. How do I know you're wrong? Let me give you all the examples in the world you want. If you are looking for fair distributions, you will miss out on the biggest gains. Let me show you this video from Richard Hart. Shout out to PulseChain PDI guy who made this video. Listen very carefully, okay?
All these people that look at early projects and say bad things about new projects are missing the largest opportunity that has ever existed.
See that? All these people looking at new projects, they're saying bad things. What things will they say bad? Oh, one guy owns all the coins. That's what they say. They make these incorrect conclusions. But actually what they're doing is they are evaluating a high growth potential asset, security, token, whatever they're looking at happens in the stock market. They're evaluating it from the perspective of someone who's at the finish line. You miss out on the growth. You're a mid-curver at that point. You're a cookie cutter. That's a cookie cutter mindset. That's Big Lenny would tell you, never be a cookie cutter. Big Lenny, you're watching down on us. I will never be a cookie cutter, Big Lenny. Okay. Fair distribution. Let's go, friends. So this is a critical weak point flaw in Murad's filter list. And it's specifically, you can read it here, right? It's the token, checking token distribution. So where's it come from, right? Firstly, what I'm going to do is play some nice journey music, friends, because we are on a journey. We're on a journey of friendship. And we got a big lollipop. It's like all my videos are just full of candy, friends, for you. It's like it's intellectual candy. Now, so the theory, it goes like this, okay? If you have heaps of fairly distributed people in a coin, the theory is that they will all shill it heaps because you don't have somebody who's going to like clamp down the coin and cap the supply. So they assume like, okay, if you have a lot of people who have a little bit of supply and then you have somebody who has a lot, they're just going to keep like relentlessly dumping on everyone, okay? And people, you know, the classic term, oh, that big guy's dumping on us. Well. In reality, it doesn't happen like that. In the real world. In real estate, okay, the real 3D realm, and also digital real estate and shares and crypto. So that's actually a communism style distribution. It's when you start like, hey, the bull market's not done, start fair, fully fair, right? This doesn't actually pump coins or stocks the hardest. And I mean, I could give it to you quickly just to like tease you a bit, friends. if everybody had a brochure in their hand that they got by collecting, they just walk past the train station, you have 1,000 people with a brochure in their hand, they're just going to throw it on the floor. Yeah? But if like, if 20% of those people weren't given a brochure, they were given a diamond, now they're going to probably put it in their pocket. They don't want to get rid of the diamond. Let's continue. Bitcoin, have you heard of Bitcoin, friends? You've heard of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was stacked at the start. Boy, oh boy, was it stacked. Firstly, the best time to buy Bitcoin was when it had zero fair distribution, when Satoshi owned 100% of the coins. So Satoshi mined the first million. Who made the most money? It was the guys who bought the 11th millionth stack. They're the ones. Okay, think about that, by the way. There's 1 million coins, and then everyone who buys the next million after him, the first guys who buy it, Satoshi owns literally 99.99999%. And by the end of that million stack, Satoshi now owns 50% of all the coins. So even if you're buying when Satoshi still owns 50% of all the coins, he owns 1 million out of the 2 million available, you make all the money. And how much money? I mean, look at the growth rates, by the way, over time, friends. Satoshi comes out here. See, your 4-year growth rate. So these numbers are the 4-year growth rates from holding that point. So it's 165% at this point. My gosh. So, I mean, think of it. Wouldn't you have liked to buy Bitcoin at 1 cent? Look at that. By the time you got to the halving, my gosh, you're up 1,200x. You see? So you missed out, right? And by the way, look at this. Okay, Roger Ver at the start, he owned 2.7% of all Bitcoin. Okay, so what I did was I assumed there was 10 million mined at that point, in that point of time. So he had 270,000 BTC. Mt. Gox owned 9% of all the coins, something ridiculous. Okay, because Mt. Gox fans, you know how they distributed 160,000? They actually had 950,000 BTC. That's what Coinbase has today. They had 950,000. Whoa! But there weren't 20 million coins back then. It was 10 or 12 or 14, whatever, right? So as you can see, man, Bitcoin, if you waited for a fair distribution, you miss out. Good luck. You might think, okay, but Bitcoin's a unicorn. Let's go through. Okay, friends, let's go through. We will go through. Have you heard of Ethereum? Ethereum was stacked at the start. The Ethereum Foundation owned 50% of all the coins. And I actually have it for you here. You don't believe me? Look at this. Ethereum had, there you go. Look at this. This is the ICO. Look how big they had, man. They had 40% here and 10% for this. Okay, whatever this is, parties. Okay, foundation, basically 50%. Bitcoin maxis still to this day hate Ethereum because Bitcoin came and Satoshi was said, hey, free public, take the coins, run with it. But then Ethereum came out and they said, well, we're going to have half the coins. Pre-mine. That's why we always joke, friends. Me and Mr. Custard, we joke every month. We've been saying this for 3 years. Pre-mine scam. Ethereum is a pre-mine scam. They're a staunch Bitcoin maxis always say that, and it's because it started this trend of them keeping the coins. Okay, Vitalik had a lot of the coin supply. Charles Hoskinson, 50%. Friends, Ethereum did a 4,500x. From the moment of time you should have bought it when the foundation had all the supply. What about our lovely friends over in XRP? XRP was stacked at the start. It is still stacked, okay? So Ripple, known as Cripple to me, owned 80% of all the coins. It still pumped 620x in 2017. What a whopping mammoth of a move. You check it out here. How about this? Bang! How about that? 600x. Cripple owned all the coins. So if you're looking for fairly distributed, you literally missed out on the unicorn. You missed out on many coins, man, in 2017. Another example, Richard Hart. Perfect example. Okay, friends, I was watching Altcoin Daily and everyone else, and they kept calling him a scammer. Elio Trades, Altcoin Daily, they kept saying scammer, scammer, scammer. So I see all these hexagons come out. So I genuinely thought he is out here to scam. I go, well, they all saying, look, he owns all the coins. Of course he's going to dump. They kept saying that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then people started a rumor. They said that he lost all his Bitcoin trading. So he's here to steal from the public and he's going to run off and disappear. That's what everyone kept saying. And like, we don't know. Because everyone says, oh, this guy's got a shady past. You don't know anything. So you want violence and harm to that person because you have no freaking idea. Because we have Satoshi principles. That's what we're like, oh, Bitcoin, decentralization and stuff, okay? But there wasn't anybody out here telling you about the truth about Bitcoin being stacked at the start. Because no one understood it. No one understood the distribution. There weren't all these videos and everything else out here back then, okay? So they said Richard Hart owned 95% of the tokens at the start because of the origin address and stuff. Well, what's funny is that he now owns 85% from the origin address, but you're later in the cycle now. So the best time to buy it was when, if you even true, that whoever it is, someone owns 95% of the tokens. And then Hex did a 10,000x, as we know. So we can just see you again what was possible. This is it. Hey, Richard owns all the coins. Hex was down 5 million market cap, by the way. It went to 50 billion. What a run for the ages, by the way. That's 5 million, though. It did not start off at 5 million on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. It said 100 million. All right. So you're looking at it like, wait a minute, it's only 5 million. So see, friends, I'm peeling back these things. By the way, I could do this example on and on and on. I can go through Luna. I can go through everything. A lot of go look all the winners. You're like, oh my gosh, someone had a big portion of supply. Okay. So looking at the distribution, you're going to filter out too many things, a lot of things. As you can tell, right, looking for a well-distributed coin can often mean you are late. What? Yes. Late. Why? Why is it better? Why are all these things happening, friends? Well, look, in a nutshell, it's this, okay? It is more likely that a very wealthy God whale type, not as anyone, like let's say God whale, somebody with a big portion of supply, we'll give them names, like a God whale. It's very likely that that person would only sell a small stack, if ever. Why? It's because it's easier for one person versus like 20 big sharks to convince themselves that what they are holding is amazing, like a cave of diamonds, right? And it's very scarce, and they want to go for dynasty wealth. They really want to go for the big one. It's way easier to convince one person to hold out because they've got all their life needs anyway, rather than convince 20 sharks, as you'll see right now. I'll show you. So if that holder stack, so Godwell, right? So maybe Godwell has like, let's say someone had 20% of a token supply, 20%. And then in another world, same coin, parallel universe, there are 20 1%ers, big sharks, okay? Not the official terms, but you get the point, right? What you actually find is those big sharks, they're all trying to hit like a round number. So it's very hard to convince 20 of those big sharks not to sell, or just to convince one. Go, hey, one of you sell, the rest of you don't touch it. It's very hard. They won't believe each other because they're sharks. They're playing with each other, okay? You need a lot more liquidity coming in to absorb all of them. So put it in another way, friends. I know this is having some fun here. So Rectum Rochelle is obviously like a meme now, and pretty much PulseChain. He has like $40 million worth of coins. I know a lot of us friends are like, a lot of people like give him poop and stuff, but Rectum, he believed in Richard Hart more than everyone else. He put in $25 million of the coins into the sacrifice. Okay, so he believed harder than everyone else, all right? Now, there's all the controversy and all these, but don't worry about that part. But 20 different Rectum Rochelles as a person, as an example, they might be interested in dumping like $1 million worth of yield every 30 days. So every month they get yield, they get it in the PulseChain, staking, Hex, whatever it is, Inc. They've got $1 million. It's likely that of those 20 people, a few of them, let's say 10, 5 to 10, they're earning $1 million a month. Yeah. And then they might say, oh, I'm dumping all the yield. I'm going to buy a mansion. I'm getting a mansion every month. I get $1 million for a house every month. Okay. Forever. In the big mega moonshot coins though, you know how there's 20 Rectum Rochelles in this one example? Okay. Imagine a God whale with 20% of the supply. What you'll actually find is that God whale, There is none, not always, but you have a chance, just a chance at that Godwell, benevolent dictator, whatever it is. They don't care about a shitty little $1 million per month. They don't care about this $10 million month yield. They have everything already. They're like, I've already got houses. I've already got Bitcoin. I've got this. I don't need a dump. I don't care about this. So what you'll use an example right here, Richard Hart. Okay, so let's say Richard Hart is a Godwell. He doesn't care about those little mansions. Why? Because he's trying to overtake Elon Musk. He's trying to become a trillionaire. Trying to become God status. Okay? So that's what your goal is here to figure out. And you'll never know the answer. People will lie to you. Don't believe or trust anything. I'm just telling you this is how the world works. This is why you never really know. You never really know. And to be honest, it's not about the supply. That's the best part. So what I'm telling you, it's not even about the supply. The bull market ends when you run out of buyers. So it's all about the buyers. You see? So basically, friends, all the evidence shows that your crypto jackpot arrives when you have a benevolent God whale who doesn't throw in the towel early. You see? They don't take a lick of this lollipop too many times. They want to keep it. That's actually how all these things go up. You see? Think of Satoshi. Satoshi could have dumped the crap out of Bitcoin at 20K in 2017. He could have kept it down lower. He could have, you know what I mean? He's got 1 million Bitcoin. He could have. Benevolent God. None of this will make sense to the 140,000 new followers of Murad. So Murad gained 140,000 followers in like a month. And they'll only realize this after the bull market's done. Just this, it's retailers, right? They're coming in. They don't have their thesis. They don't know their thesis. They're adopting someone else's. That's okay. I know 140,000 people are now going to start talking about this everywhere. Sweet. Come on board. This is what we want to see, right? And as I mentioned here, that's the way I like it. So this is me. Wee! Having fun here, friends. Are you having fun? Plenty of fun. I have this PulseChain logo, friends, right here on this necklace. All right. So remember this. Just remember this. I haven't, think about it, okay? PulseChain, PulseX. Do they have PE earnings? No. Do they have like dividends to shareholders or anything? Do they have an asset and liability company? No. Are they used as a world currency? Can you buy a cup of coffee with it? No, 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 no. I got it as a necklace. Do I have Igon Lei as a necklace? No. Do I have the US dollar as a necklace? No. Do I have a bar of gold as a necklace? No. Think about it. Okay? There's something else going beneath the surface. Let's explore. Now, friends, if you go to my posts here, I make bonus posts, but this one is just filled with so many bonuses, we're going to uncover them. So now me and you, we're going to play a little thought experiment. I'm going to ask you, A or B, which would you rather live in? Think about it, okay? Do you want to live in a city where there are 100,000 poor people and each of them have a net worth of like $1,000? Or do you want to live in a city where there are, out of 100,000 people, 80,000 are poor, and then the other 20,000 get a distribution of being rich? Obviously, it takes a while. Most people, they don't know. They think, well, everybody's poor, everyone's the same. No. The best city to live in is the one with the rich people there. You could even play around with these numbers, right? How about if I said, do you want to live in a city where you have 80,000, 100,000 people? They're not poor. They're like a bit above poor, lower middle class. Everyone's exactly there, lower middle class. Or would you rather live in a city where there's like extremely poor people and then there are like these really riches? What you'll find is, interestingly enough, if you want to make the most money, you know, developing countries and stuff, friends, they have extremely poor people, and then they have super dynasty wealth people who have big businesses, they're employing people, and the GDP is growing at like 6% per year. Only when they hit a first world country, they finally made it. Now, here's the thing. You might say, oh, I want to live in the first world country where, like, you know, everything's more distributed. No, 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 no. You only want the opportunity in those countries because you can go work a wage and you can put your money somewhere else. That's what you actually want. You don't actually want to invest in that city and grow at a crappy little, whatever, 3% GDP, 6%. You don't actually want to do that. There's so many more better things to do. By the way, we're in crypto. Obviously, a lot of people are from first world countries as well. They're putting their money in crypto. You see? If you want to invest, friends, like how many people made millions and millions and millions of dollars in the upcoming growth of Singapore, of China, right? So the biggest wealth is from taking the poor to the middle class, dragging that part up. That's where all the big wealth comes from. Now that everyone's established, now you're like, oh, I want to raise a family. There's less crime and stuff. Yeah, because the crime and all those, they're more important to you. You don't care whether your kid has like a 15% per year compounded growth rate on a business opportunity idea just throwing out everywhere. You don't really care about that. You're just like, oh, just go work a job and work a cubicle race anywhere else, because that's okay, because, you know, you could always like invest digitally. You can escape the rat race from being within the rat race, right? You can actually escape it. That's what we're doing now. If you're in crypto, we're in cities where most of you don't want to buy property in your cities. Poop. You know, the average American home, friends, is only growing about 5% per year. Crypto is growing at, I mean, like, check these growth rates. I literally have them. Compare 5% to, look what Bitcoin did in these 4-year periods, 67% per year. Even if it does 40% per year, right, for most people, US property is only growing at 5. Stock market's growing at like 10. And that's a stock market. That's already digital assets you can buy. So what you actually find is you want to live in the city with the rich people. They have power. They can command things. You don't actually want to be in like this communist thing. Everyone's got the exact same wealth, right? And also think about it, right? Rich people have big mansions. They need their pools to be cleaned. They need security guards. They need their hedges to be cut. They employ people. They need people. They need people to do the work that they don't want to do. Do you see? So you're seeing this distribution. If you are filtering out a coin, because that's all coins are, friends, they're communities, yeah? Do you want to be in a community where everyone is equal? Or do you want to be in the community for growth, right? Do you want to be in the community where you have some big God whales? Obviously, the God whales. Now, here's the thing. What community token do you want to use as a currency for short-term spending and stuff, right? It's the one fairly distributed. It's a currency because you're not holding it. You're spending it because it's accepted everywhere. Everyone's got it. Sweet. I can just spend it. I don't care. And the one you want to store is the one with the rich people. So this happens in the real world. Also, you already know this, right? When you have a lot of rich people that have a lot of power, they have a lot to lose. They have a lot to lose. They got to build big forts. They need security guard teams. They got to make sure the restaurants aren't serving poisonous food. They got to make sure schools are protected. They have a lot to lose if those things go bad in that city, right? So this is effectively your explanation as to why fair token distribution could be a trap. I've got more extra bonuses here for you, friends. The best time to buy Bitcoin, right, was when Satoshi owned 100% of the coins. You already know this, yes? He had 1 million of the 1 million available. Best time to buy it. The best time to buy XRP was when Ripple owned 80% of the coins. The best time to buy Ethereum was when the ETH Foundation had all the pre-mined coins. The best time to own HEX was when Richard Hart allegedly owned 95% of the coins. Even if you check the OA, as I mentioned before, he's only got 85% of the coins. Why? Because it's being handed out to the long-term stakers. If you are staking HEX, you are receiving more and more of the yield. Your share of the digital real estate community, the cult, your share is increasing over time. It's being diluted from the origin address, which never sells. You're stealing its purchasing power. So the origin address sits there. You get to steal your purchasing power. But what's the game mechanic you get to steal? Not steal. You get to earn the purchasing power. You earn it by staking longer. It is your offering to the gods. See, obviously Richard knew this. That's why he did it. That's why he did it. Okay. See, how you, friends, if you have Bitcoin, how can you earn purchasing power? You have to do Bitcoin mining. You can't do that. I can't do that. You literally can't do that. And by the way, all the coins are out. The game's done. Who are you going to steal purchasing power from? You can't. All you got to do is buy big capitulations. You got to be a big investment trader, swinger. Where can you get it? You can't earn it anymore. It's done. 15 years old, tech slow. Obviously, I love Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin. I'm just telling you, that's the game. People holding Bitcoin, friends, they didn't give a shit about your price growth from here. Okay? They didn't give a shit that you're not going to make a 90x. They didn't care about that. They do want number to go up. They don't care about you and your crappy little 90x. They've already got a lot. They're happy with a 3. They're happy, okay, let's try flip gold. Let's try become more of a currency and stuff here and there. You see? What about stocks? This is always a favorite. Once I always throw stocks in, friends, people's minds always blow. Because it happens to stocks. The best time to buy Apple was when Steve Jobs and Wozniak owned like 90% of the stake. There are famous stories of people who did have a couple of percent share and they sold them for like a couple of grand or like 10 grand or something. It's worth like, 18 billion today or something. This is interesting. The best time to own Tesla was when Elon owned 25% of it. You want to know something funny? When Elon bought into the Tesla ICO in 2004, but he bought 6.25% of Tesla. So he owned 6% in 2004, and now he has a bigger share. Wild. And funnily enough, all right, he owns 6% here, he owns 25% here, and then this one did the biggest pump. 33x. How much did this do? 9x. Explain that. Explain that. He owns even more unfair distribution, and then it pumped harder. Friends, that's why PulseX, the buy and burn, the protocol is just buying it off the supply of the market, okay? That's also why if the sacrifice wallet, who may or may not be controlled by Greg the Duck, if that deploys the 170,000 ETH, it's the biggest buy and burn of your life. Because then everyone will look at that account and go, oh, that's going to be hilarious, right? Wait a minute. It's got more centralized ownership and it will just pump hard. If you're looking at coins right now and you're comparing origin address things, Hex gives you an X on every single one of the mid-curves list. X. The best part is Hex, PulseChain, PulseX, Inc., all these, okay? The best part is, maybe not Inc., because there's no OA, but you now have a chance, friends. I'm now here with the power of a fluffy microphone and the power of our friendship. I can actually tell you, actually, even though everyone thinks it's risky, this is actually early. All right. Now, obviously, it is not just enough. Just like, just because you have a four wheels on a car doesn't mean the car's going to actually start or move, right? 4 wheels helps. That's why I'm pretty much getting that. So you can't just say, oh, let's buy. You can't just look for tokens. Oh, someone owns all the coins. Let me go buy it. It'd be funny, though. That'd be funny, actually. That person is incentivized to think of strategies to distribute, by the way. Just to let you know. Yes, they are incentivized for that. Once again, I'm going to repeat that. People with big supply are incentivized to look for avenues to safely distribute if they even want to distribute in the first place. They don't have to. If they wanted to, by the way, why would they rotate out? It's because they found something else nicer and newer. Okay? If you're in crypto, that's why most people don't rotate out. Because you're like, this thing's giving me 50% per year. I'm not going to rotate into a house that gives you 5%. Obviously, friends, you can't take that the whole way forever, but I'm just telling you, somebody with dynasty wealth, a god whale, they got enough houses, man. They don't care about property. Maybe they got Bitcoin. Maybe they're sitting on like 40,000 Bitcoin. Like, what's a house going to do? I don't care. I'd have to buy like 400,000 houses. Then they have to buy more real estate manager access, and they have to pay them fees, and they have to go check everything. Then they have to get more accountants and more lawyers who have to like portfolio manage for them. You see what I mean? You're like, more money, more problems. You see? So if you were looking at a bubble map distribution of all the pumper assets, you failed. Okay, here are some green candles for Richard Hart's streaming. Okay, so looking for this fair distribution stuff, it's not necessarily enough. You'll weed yourself out. Final bonus, okay? This is critically important, friends. We'll actually Cranky G. We'll Cranky G. It's time to move on to the part. So the part where we like figure out, okay, if that part is not enough, what does present itself as the answer? 2 parts here. Tick for this part. Finding a community who wants to accumulate a bigger percentage of their current ownership. Interesting. That's why if you're a cult with a long-term staking mechanism, it helps. See? That's why if you're a cult with a buy and burn of PulseX, you want to hold PulseX. Your percentage is getting bigger. It's a drunken Michael Saylor chewing you up. You see? Pulse, PLS is a spear. We know that from Ethereum as well. It's got nothing to do with the gas fee usage. It's a representation. It's a token friendship. It's like having an emblem of your country's flag. Okay, it's worth something. It's worth a lot. It represents a community. It's like an index of the success of the community. That's what Ethereum was, by the way. A lot of people who didn't know how to pick altcoins in 2020, so they just bought ETH. Now, lucky for them, ETH was in its second cycle, and it did like a 10x from exactly 4 years ago, 2020 Q4. It went from about 350 to about 4K, 10 to 12x. Ethereum was the index. Would you call Ethereum an index today, though? Is it an index of all the altcoins on it today? Yeah, but poopy, isn't it? You're like, oh man, I'd rather just take my chance on meme coins, but that's because I've been handing out the thesis here to you. What if it was some other narrative that we can't get access to? What if the narrative went to airdrop tokens and VC tokens? We'd be screwed. So remember, friends, looking for the answer, that was part 1, okay? Part 1 was finding a community who wants to accumulate a bigger percentage of the ownership. Number 2, benevolent god whales who do not hand out the tokens easily. So this will lower the velocity of the token and give it more scarcity attributes. That is it. A lot of fun. It's funny, man. So many people come out and say, Richard Hart, please get us listed. Oh, they can get listed. Buy the token off the DEX like everyone else, buddy. I'm not giving you tokens. No. Friends, I've got to remind you, how was Bitcoin listed on exchanges? People had to deposit and exchanges had to buy. Satoshi didn't go and hand out the tokens. He didn't go and say, hey, take some tokens, here's some listings. Richard knows this. And by the way, once you start handing out the tokens, you start tainting it. You do. Richard still regrets to this day giving 10,000 hex, whatever it was, to the Bitcoin free claimers. I know he does, because I regret that. I regret seeing that. It was just 10,000 hex. It was worth like $1. At the top, it was worth $5,000. We regret it. That tiny amount, nah, they don't deserve it. No. It's funny. It's like 99% scarce, 1%. Okay, we hand it out because they're trying things, by the way, because they're trying the effect of, let's do a strategy where you send all these people dust tokens, so you're occupying mindshare space in their wallet. So they see the token and people can claim their free airdrop, because people were trying a lot of things back then. They wouldn't have anything set in stone, but now it's become apparent. Okay, so if you want to know, hey, what is the actual thing to do to win? Okay, forget the incentives. Forget them. Okay, you forget the incentives, they will figure themselves out. Nothing beats 100% community management. Adoption. That's what it is. Yeah, there's some things where you can do some games and gimmicks and yield farming and to help everyone else in there. But at the start, it's unequivocal fact, you must spend almost all your time recruiting. By the way, why do you think Ricardo Corazon had Hex as a finished product? So he could just shill the bag 24 hours a day. There's no code upgrade. There's no team to work on it. Nah, it's done. You see? Finished products, it is the kryptonite of this VC stuff, because the product's already done, and now all you can do is just basically switch how or toggle how excited you are based off it. Okay? How do you find a community who wants to buy more digital real estate ownership of their coin in the first place? That's a cult, friends. That's literally a cult. Why? Well, this is the thing. Cult members are locked in the city. So obviously, there's no real label of these. You're trying to think about them. Like, is there a cult here? That's what you're trying to look for. You're trying to look for, is there a cult and do people want to join in? Or can these people in the cult, can they have 72 streamers, 170 content creators? Can they yell loud enough to get everybody in? That's what you're trying to figure out. No one's going to give you the answer. You got to figure it out for yourself. That's why we're here trying to point out these things. Like, oh, wow, there's a lot of people here. Everyone's Twitter follower account is growing. YouTube follower account is growing. They're all doing streaming. You're trying to just forecast for the next 12 to 24 months. That's what you're trying to do. Okay, we're all guessing. So cult members, they're locked in the city. There is literally nowhere else for them to go. Dr. Hexologist, I don't think he can practice anywhere else, guys. You see? RG3, no way RG3 is going to be a pirate for XRP, guys. They wear suits. What about Pedodot? No chance in hell. You see? These characters, they solidify themselves. It's their identity. We call it identity. But I'm just giving you like names and characters we know. It's kind of funny, man. Like we can name all these characters. Like this is a $40 billion coin. It shouldn't be 800 million for Pulse PLS. You see, like the fact that we can name them is showing you that there's a market's not catching up to it yet. Look at this as well. So these people, they're locked in the city. There's nowhere else for them to go. So they must accumulate a bigger position. They have to. You know what's funny, fans? I know what everyone says in the chat rooms, by the way. You know, everyone says the same thing. I'm going to dump and leave. I can't wait to leave. You know, everyone says that. You know, by the way, everyone said that in 2020 about literally every single coin. But what happens is something goes so far, it inspires belief in everyone's hearts. A unicorn run. Doge and SHIB did it in 2021. And now suddenly, you're like, oh, I want to dump and leave. Okay, if I put Pepe at 140 billion market cap and Pulse is like 3 billion, you know you're selling low. You know you are. You're like, dude, what? That's a movement? This is a movement too. See? There are prices too low, there are prices too high. So what everyone's saying is, I want to dump at a high price and then they'll buy back in at a low price. That's their identity. That's a cult. Cult members don't think of horizontal expansion. So leaving the city. They don't think of the doors, friends. Cult members, there's nowhere else for them to go. Nowhere else. They're locked in. Instead, they're thinking of vertical expansion. Okay? Accumulating more. So horizontal expansion people, they are the low-level meme coiners. They're like, oh, Murad likes this meme coin, but I liked Blue Frogs yesterday, so now Murad's cool. He looks like Jesus. I'm going to go follow his coins because it's a presentation now. This person has no belief in their hearts. They are paper thin. Okay? They can be solidified, but they're paper thin. They're looking for a home. Also, the pump fund JPEG swappers, your liquidity lasts 4 days. Like you're a joke. Obviously, there's all these scams, all this grifting going, this pump fund JPEG trash. But that's it. That's horizontal. You can't trust them. They're all paper hand jeets. They're soy boy jeets. We know they are. So a cult member, my friends, Bitcoin's a cult. Cult members are thinking of vertical expansion. They want to accumulate their stack bigger. And you can already relate to that. And I might have to make another whole video on this itself, friends. You are in a city or a country or a place. You would like to own more land. Why? Because you're familiar with it. You would love to own a big block of land here, apartments there. You'd love it. I know you'd love it. Do you give a shit about buying apartments in India? Calcutta. Do you? No, I don't care either. Do you care about owning houses in somewhere rural China? Or even an apartment in Shanghai? You don't care. You're not working at that. You don't care. Unless you're from there. If you're from there, you do care. And people in India, they don't care about owning a Miami apartment. They'd like it. They're not working towards it. People in America, they want that Miami apartment. They want that New York apartment, whatever it is. You see? So that is just the real world, the real estate. We're in crypto. We are in digital real estate. We are collecting these things like Pokemon. We're collecting them. We trade some Pokemon cards. There's ones we're just never going to get rid of. See? And a cult has a higher tendency. They want to accumulate their stack. To accumulate their stack, they want to grow more value. They're just valuable. They just keep shilling. They'll keep shilling and accumulating as much as they can. You see? Now you get the point of it. Like, oh my gosh. So crypto is just digital real estate. Yes. Yes, it is. We're communities. We live on the internet. That's why Bitcoin is the people's money, is internet money. Now you understand the full picture. And so if you are looking for a coin, remember, if you're looking for a coin with fair distribution, I'm not even going to guess. I'll bet all 3 of my testicles on it. We're all going to miss out on the big unicorn pumper because something's just going to blow our minds. It will. So your job is to figure out who owns the coins. Try to figure it out. What type of psychological makeup do they have? How big are their targets? Now, everyone's just going to say big targets, but do they demonstrate that this thing can go big? And do the hearts of the believers holding, do they think it can go big? That's why, friends, a lot of what I do is when I show you a dog shit 800 million market cap PLS, what's your friend Somi always telling you? With his bucket hat with the cute Charmander on. What am I always telling you? We're going to flip Cardano. All right? We're going to flip Cardano. Cardano is another cult. We're a new cult. They're third cycle. Okay, Cardano. And by the way, Cardano is like a light version of cult. Look at this. It is 12 billion. It's 12 billion. Why should we be under 12 billion? We should be 15x higher. Why aren't we 15x higher? People haven't woken up yet. That's it. By the way, people holding Bitcoin, they're looking at gold. They're like, we're digital gold. We're better than you. We shouldn't be under $780,000 BTC price. They're thinking like that, friends. We're all thinking like that. You're in here because you think Bitcoin can do it inherently. Do you see? How believable is it? I know a lot of this is you're reading humans and there's a lot of guesswork and speculation, but it's worth it. Firstly, there's no formula because it's illiquid and you're early. And secondly, no one knows what the hell they're doing, which makes it better for me and you. It also gives you confidence. Why are things low? People don't know what they're doing. Why did this scam go up 100x? People don't know what they're doing. Okay, if you buy a scam for 100x, then you should be able to buy a cult that defends your bags when it's down minus 99% if it ever gets there. I wonder though, friends, after all of this, I wonder if there's a chain out there, almost like a cult blockchain, where everyone wants to stay in the city. Have you had your awakening yet? That's why the memes on PulseChain is they're in the cult city. It's like they're programmed to win. Like here's the thing: when you're holding a coin on Ethereum, like let's say Landwolf, man, we got to do a lot of work, and everyone does a lot of work, rating and all these other things. But the Ethereum shillers are not shilling Landwolf. It's altcoin dispersion. On PulseChain, because it's a blue ocean area, those 72 streamers and 170 content creators, every time they pick up the megaphone for Pulse, they pick up the megaphone for Inc. They pick up the megaphone for Pika and Dick Whipper and P-Dye. Because there's new demand popping up everywhere. You see? Eventually, it gets so big, it's red ocean, and it's every man for themselves again, like Ethereum land. But that's a nice problem to have, because you're only 250 times more rich than you are today. This is your friend Somi. Make sure you like, subscribe, belly button, all. I'm wearing a bucket hat. Don't forget he loves you.